there. Thank you for joining me. This is kind of a bit of an impromptu, quick setup, but I wanted to tackle the issue of the Shroud of Turin. Now, Otangelo, our friend Otangelo, has convinced me that the Shroud of Turin is indeed evidence of Jesus Christ. Now, I like Otangelo, I trust Otangelo, so I have no reason to doubt what Otangelo says, right? But what I do want to do is dive a little deeper into this Shroud of Turin issue and see if there's any merit to what Otangelo claims. And I'm going to go into this totally on Otangelo's side. I'm saying that the Shroud of Turin is absolute 100% truth, 100% evidence, I should say, of the existence of Jesus Christ. So, Otangelo is invited in here, of course. The Discord is open. However, I want to get into the video part of it before we open the door, the Discord door, to the throngs of people that will be bottlenecking the door to get in. So let me see if I can set this up nicely. All right. This is a clip from Jansen Media.
By now, throughout the world, the term shroud refers to a linen cloth 4 meters 42 centimeters in length, 1 meter 13 centimeters in width, that has been kept in Turin since 1578. On this light yellow ochre sheet, there are visible imprints that reproduce the frontal image, left, and dorsal image, right, of a human body. There also appear numerous other marks left by the vicissitudes suffered by the shroud during its life. The frontal image shows the face crowned by long hair and a thick beard, the thorax, the arms crossed over the pubic area, and the legs stretched out. The posterior image shows the nape of the neck, the back, the outstretched legs, and the soles of the feet. In particular, one notes 2 black lines running parallel to the longer side, burn marks caused by a fire that broke out in 1532 in the Sainte-Chapelle at Chambéry, then housing the shroud folded in a silver box. The 2 black singed lines are due to contact with the overheated sides of the box. During the fire, a drop of molten metal fell onto the sheet, passing through every layer, destroying the fabric. This explains the symmetrical repetition of numerous triangular holes along the two black lines. In 1534, these holes were repaired by the Clare nuns of Chambéry, who covered them with patches. In addition, to reinforce the area of the sheet damaged by the fire, the sisters sewed both the shroud and the patches to a sheet of linen called Holland cloth. For conservation reasons, these patches were removed in 2002 and the Holland cloth substituted by a new backing fabric, recognizable under the burns because of its different color and weft with respect to the shroud. In the central area of the sheet, there are a series of large rhomboidal marks with jagged edges. These were caused by the water that soaked the shroud at some time in its history. There are also 4 symmetrical groups of roundish burn marks, smaller than the former, which, without doubt, date from before the Chambéry fire. In this case, too, the new backing cloth appears beneath the holes, recognizable by its different color and weft. Along the upper edge, an 8 centimeter wide strip of the same material as the shroud has been sewn on. Its extreme edges have 2 large gaps, under which the new fabric can be seen. Along the lower edge of the left-hand gap, there is the area from which the 2 most recent material samples were taken for scientific purposes in 1973 and 1988. The shroud fabric consists of a valuable linen that appears to be hand-woven with a characteristic typical of herringbone cloth. The longitudinal strips, about 1 centimeter wide, are highly visible when the cloth is illuminated with close-up light. Upon enlargement, the herringbone weave is clearly visible. The face of the man of the shroud bears numerous bruised lesions that coroners have carefully studied. Swellings have been identified that appear coherent with hematoma. These are particularly visible on the right side of the face that is more swollen than the left. Furthermore, there are marks attributable to lacerated and contused wounds. The nasal septum is bent, caused by a fracture. All things considered, the man of the shroud appears to have been savagely beaten during the hours preceding his death. On the forehead, nape of the neck, and in the hair, one can observe numerous sinuous rivulets of blood originating from wounds caused by pointed objects with a small diameter. They radiate out from the head and appear to have been caused by a crown of sharp thorns placed on the head itself. The characteristics of the blood traces leaving the wounds allow the distinction between lesions involving arterial and venal vessels. Of particular interest is the blood stain in the center of the forehead, coming from a wound to a frontal vein that has the form of an upturned 3, because it follows the lines of the forehead itself. On the right-hand side of the chest, there is a large blood stain originating from an oval wound caused by a pointed cutting object that struck between the 5th and 6th rib and penetrated deeply. The characteristics of this wound are important in that they show that it was inflicted after the death of the subject. The blood that spurted out of the wound is surrounded by a serous halo that is typical of blood flowing out of a corpse, in which the serum and corpuscles have already separated. The frontal image of the shroud shows clear signs of the imprints left by the arms. These are stretched out with the hands crossed in the pubic region. On both forearms, there are long blood stains beginning at the wrist and flowing up to the elbow. Their direction appears unnatural, as they seem to be flowing upwards. One must bear in mind that we are dealing with bloodstains formed when the body was hanging on the cross and the wrists were higher than the elbows. The left wrist shows clear signs of a characteristic bloodstain formed by 2 diverging trails of blood related to the 2 different positions assumed by the condemned on the cross, the prostrate and the erect. The blood flows out of an oval wound caused by a pointed instrument such as a nail. The location of this wound is of particular interest, not being on the palm of the hand, as depicted in traditional iconographic representations of the crucifixion, but on the wrist. Of particular interest is the absence of thumbs on the image of the shroud, and this could have been caused by either the lesion of the median nerve or a tetanic contraction. The skin of the thorax and back have over 100 excoriated round and linked bruises, about 2 centimeters in length, that are also visible on the lower limbs. These appear to be lesions caused by the flagrum, a Roman torture instrument, consisting of a wooden handle and thongs, at the end of which were attached 2 small dumbbell pieces of lead. It is difficult to establish the number of flagrum blows inflicted because we do not know the number of thongs on the flagrum. What we do know is that the torture was inflicted on a bent back with the body naked. At the height of the left scapular region and above the right shoulder, one can observe quadrangular bruises related to the marks left by a rough, heavy object that can be identified as the patibulum, the horizontal axis of the cross that the condemned sometimes carried to the place of execution. Finally, at the height of the kidneys, one observes a transversal blood flow that crosses the whole back. This is the blood spurting from the rib wound when the body, once removed from the cross, was laid in a horizontal position. The lower limbs of the man of the shroud are easily discernible, both in the anterior and posterior images. Both knees show abrasion, very probably caused by falls, because in these areas, as on the soles of the feet, traces of soil have been identified. It is also worth noting that the left knee has been fixed by rigor mortis in a more bent position than the right one, and, as a result, the left leg appears shorter than the right one. The sole of the right foot is clearly imprinted, while the left one has only the posterior part near the heel visible. This suggests that the crucifixion took place using only one nail, and by placing the left foot on top of the right. On the sole of the latter, one notes the exit hole of the nail, from which depart the rivulets of blood descending towards the toes. The corporeal imprints that one sees on the shroud are dark in the relief areas, while light in the others. The image, therefore, has a light distribution opposite to that which we actually see. The imprint therefore appears to be the same as a photographic negative. By changing the image of the shroud into its photographic negative, light and shade are obviously inverted, and this, therefore, shows the true aspect of the man of the shroud, as we would observe were he in front of us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. All right. So, okay. So here's the deal. That was proof of the shroud, that the Shroud of Turin is evidence of Jesus Christ, that he lived. He actually lived, people. The Shroud of Turin. Huh? So I would expect. Oh, I did say I was going to post this link, didn't I? So let me do that. If I can find where the hell I am here. Oh, there we go. Let me post the link. Just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. All right. I'm going to put the link that you can join me in here. Right there. Okay, bear in mind that this is kind of still an experiment, trying to not blow up my machine. So this is it. There we go. All right. So, Assembly of God, I am recognizing you, sir. As well as John Rapp, Algorithm, and Quasar. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining us and watching. So, anyway, what I was saying was, because Otangelo was so convincing in his argument for the veracity of the Shroud of Turin, and we just watched a video that sort of backed him up, you would expect that most everything else he says is he can either produce evidence for, or it's evidence in itself, right? Well, I don't know. I think that give the YouTube link. Discord sucks. What does that mean? The YouTube link. You're watching it on the YouTube link. YouTube link to what? YouTube link to the room that you're already watching it on? Well, I don't know what you mean by that, Assembly of God. But let us go back to Otangelo and his incredibly succinct and logically correct arguments. So I'm going to it's in 16 millimeters, so I have to go load up the projector, so please bear with me a moment. Okay, we are ready. We are ready for you. Oh, I just have to make one little change, and we can go forth. Let's see what happens. That was embarrassing for Otangelo, wasn't it? But the topic of the show is Otangelo. And Otangelo has been invited to join in the fun. And Otangelo can come in anytime he feels like. Now, Otangelo is the person who convinced me that the Shroud of Turin is real, is genuine, and then he backed it up with a movie, with a video, a documentary of all things, and then he talked to Dillahunty. And Dillahunty put him in his place, pretty much shut him up. And now I'm at a bit of a, it's like, on the one hand, I believed him, and now with Dillahunty pointing out all the falsities that Otangelo has orated, I would have to go to another source of evidence to see which way I lean with respect to this dude, Otangelo. So why don't we do that? Let's see how this works out, if it works out at all.
Actually are the odds of life developing on Earth, of the abiogenesis event which would have happened billions of years ago? What actually are the odds of such a thing happening? The answer may surprise you. I'm Jimmy Snow. This is Dear Mr. Atheist. Let's do this. Hey, there are only 11 days left of the month, and that's how long we have to get this number to 400,000. If you want an episode featuring Sammy exclusively, Sammy the wonderful good girl that she is. I realize how weird that might sound if you don't actually already know who Sammy is. If this is your first time here, Sammy is my German Shepherd. Here's a picture of her. And don't forget, when we do eventually hit 500,000, we'll add a dedicated Sammy cam to these episodes. That's going to be nice. A little thing in the corner. It's going to be good stuff. All right, today's episode comes as a result of an argument that I had with a theist on The Line this last Sunday. If you don't know, The Line is my call-in show. I am often on, but each week you might have different hosts. We go every Sunday, and we take callers from theists to atheists to anybody, especially those people who want to talk about their spiritual beliefs and tell us why we should believe those things. By the way, if you're a theist with such a thing and you'd like to have a very nice, lovely conversation about those things, you should call in to The Line on Sundays. Now, if you actually watch the call that I'm referencing, you might think that I am antagonistic to callers, but this was a special exception. Usually the callers that call in, we have very pleasant conversations, and I try not to ever be too rude or unpleasant, but this particular individual, who is called Otangelo, he calls in relatively often to all of the call-in shows like the Atheist Experience. He's actually been banned from all ACA shows like the Atheist Experience, but he hasn't been banned from mine, despite the fact that he somehow pulled off getting Shannon Q to hang up on him, which, like, she's the nicest person. If Shannon Q hangs up on you, that's something wrong with you. So we get into this conversation that's basically the teleological argument or the watchmaker argument. And the idea is that DNA is extremely complex. We read it like we read computer code. And there are those who are theists who say the complexity of it, and because it operates similar to a computer program, suggests there must have been a programmer. This is the exact same as the old, if you find a watch, there had to be a watchmaker. And now everything, including rocks, are supposedly watches. Totally ignoring the fact the only reason that you actually notice a watch in the sand and say that isn't like the things around it is because it contrasts with that which wasn't designed. It is different from the rocks and the sand around it, and that's why it sticks out. Yeah, totally ignoring that. So this new version of the argument has to do with the fact that we have turned DNA into code that we can read. We have interpreted it that way, despite the fact that the letters that we use, for example, the letter T isn't literally there. But because we are able to interpret and translate and talk about these things in terms of a computer program, there are those who insist that it's because it is a computer program and that there was a design programmer. Now, because evolution has already been demonstrated to be a fact, which it has, and I swear, if any of you leave a comment, I thought it was just a theory, you need to go and learn what a scientific theory is, and especially about evolution as a theory. But because it has been demonstrated to be a fact, and it is the history of our species and how we have gotten here, it basically just leaves them in this one spot, because we already know how the mechanism by which our DNA and stuff has become so complex, and these apparent programs that we are reading that way, that we are describing that way, that aren't actually prescriptive in that way. The moment you would have to say something was designed or programmed would have to precede evolution and be that very first moment of abiogenesis. Now, the term abiogenesis refers to essentially the event that took non-life and produced life. And the best theories right now, or hypotheses, are that it was by some sort of chemical means. However, we don't know, despite the fact that Otangelo insists that during the call I said I do know. And in fact, you can see this comment he left in this comment that he says to anybody who will listen. At Jimmy Snow, you claim to know how life came from non-life. Since you gave me only 30 seconds in the end for a final statement, I was unable to ask, so what do you explain here how you know that science has an answer to that question? Genuinely wondering. Now, grammatical errors aside, English isn't his first language. I don't feel the need to be critical of that, and I'm trying to cut off anybody who might try to go down that road. Here is what I actually said about abiogenesis. Something you're going to notice about if you go and find other Otangelo calls, or you go and watch this call, which I will give you a link to the whole call, so you can go check it out for yourself, is that one, you can tell he's reading from a script. Two, you can tell he does not listen to the responses he gets because he fails to restate the things that are said to him. He just straight up doesn't listen at all. And so he now then goes with not what I actually said, but what he feels like I must have said, because that's the only thing that pushes his argument along. So here's what I actually said. What you're calling this computer program running, we already can demonstrate the biological development of that. So the only thing that you have left to go with on this, God had to have programmed it and he was an intelligent designer, is whatever that first abiogenesis moment is, because that is the gap you have left to work in, that he apparently programmed that cell, but luckily gave it this kind of ability to develop into something much more advanced than it originally was. And you don't have any evidence for that. We already have plenty of evidence that you can create abiogenesis events via chemical means. We just don't have a demonstration of the precise way it happened on this planet. But since nothing seems to escape this natural production, we don't have a good reason to believe that abiogenesis didn't either. However, I'm not going to sit here and say the abiogenesis event was A, B, or C until we have adequate evidence. So there you see what I actually said, and in fact am very clear that I don't claim to know the specific event that happened. The only thing, as I've already stated during this episode, is that it appears to be likely a by chemical means, some kind of chemical reaction. Though I can remember being a theist myself and using the argument, did you know that atheists think that like lightning hit a stick a bunch of times and that's how life started? And yeah, or I guess I would have thought a rock, because a stick would, if there was already a stick, life would have already began. That's the nature of sticks. But yes, that was the sort of way I would summarize it as a theist. It's almost like the theistic-based arguments against science are all nonsense. That'd be weird, though. So anyway, the conversation develops and it gets to the question that I actually find very interesting and an answer that keeps coming up that's actually nonsense. So at one point during the call, as well as in the comments, which he leaves a ton of them that are just copy and pasted from his scripts, he talks about the improbability of the development of life and the development of the arrangement of nucleotides. And he talks about how it is so improbable that it is ignorant to say that it happened or that it would happen by chance. And so this is one of those moments.
The chance to have a minimal genome of 1.3 million nucleotides would be 1 to 10 to the 700,000th of power. So it's utmost irrational to believe that such complexity could come up by random chance.
All right, see ya. So the interesting thing we see there is the fact that Otangelo had been trying to hold my feet to the fire for claiming I knew something about the abiogenesis event, which I had never claimed, despite the fact that there he is claiming that the abiogenesis event resulted in that monumentally improbable arrangement of nucleotides, and that is what the first cell would have resembled, even though we don't know that to be a fact. This is a person claiming knowledge about what the abiogenesis event was when no such knowledge has currently been obtained by science or by anybody. At least anybody I know of. I guess for all I know, somebody in a basement somewhere has figured it out, but we currently don't know. So we have to talk about this argument in two ways. One, will grant him those monumental odds and say that that was the abiogenesis event, but then two, we'll talk about what the actual odds of an abiogenesis event on the Earth would be. So in granting him that argument about the odds that is what it is, it's still not an impressive argument, because anything that happens on a cosmic scale is monumentally improbable. So for example, right now, somewhere in the world, a piece of space debris of some kind or a small asteroid or something is falling to the Earth and will make contact with the Earth. And you figure if you go pick up that rock and you go, what are the odds of it landing here? Well, with everything we know now, the odds are actually 100% because the event happened. However, if you tried to predict that from before it all happened, and you talk about all of the gravitational sources that had to slightly move it, even by millimeters at a time, where the origin of this rock was compared to the rock we live on, you are talking about something that is going to have millions of zeros in probability of this rock coming into contact with our rock. But then it happened. So when you're identifying the odds of an event that has already happened, something that has already occurred, you can put them in these cosmically ginormous numbers. Now, as you add factors like this planet will be here to bend it this way, you reduce those odds. And technically, if you knew everything about the universe, if you just had a sort of all-knowing, omniscient knowledge, you could actually add so many factors that you would get the odds to 100%, but just at their base odds, like with abiogenesis and evolution, yes, they seem very improbable. However, things of that level of improbability happen all the time. And so to say an event that didn't happen, that must have happened because we see that it happened, because we have the product of it afterwards, the rock that we have picked up, or we have all of life on Earth and no reason to believe that it didn't come from natural means, despite not knowing yet the natural means by which it got here. We're still picking up the rock. It isn't compelling to go, this event is so improbable, it mustn't have happened. Not to mention that these same individuals don't want to talk about the concept of God as probabilities because there's no demonstration of the supernatural world, which makes probabilities pretty extremely high, if not actually zero. So then let's talk about what the probability of an abiogenesis event happening on the planet, because this is one that he essentially was doing himself, but you see people like Josh Feuerstein and other religious people who are anti-science try to bring up and try to attack people with. I'll give you a hint. If anybody gives you a number on what the odds of an abiogenesis event are, they are full of shit, because nobody knows. Without knowing for sure what event either did happen or perhaps other ways it could happen, because for all we know, life has multiple ways of starting. But until we know at least one of them, we can't even begin to calculate the odds. We don't even know whether or not we have life in this solar system other than on Earth that started in other places. In fact, our closest neighbor that we actually have a presence on, we haven't ruled it out for Mars yet. Now, there are little things we do know, like that carbon-based life and the type of life we have on this Earth seems to only be able to exist under certain conditions. And we've created this sort of like Goldilocks zone where we can say with pretty good confidence that if a planet is not this close and receiving this much energy from the sun, have these certain elements present, though that wouldn't be part of the Goldilocks zone, but would be a part of evaluating if life might live somewhere. If there isn't, for example, oxygen and carbon, or at least not those things in sufficient quantities, that we can say the odds are extremely low without being able to number precisely what they are, but the odds are extremely low of anything living outside of those qualifications, as long as we're talking about life that resembles the type of life on Earth. Because again, we don't know if the type of life on Earth is the only type of life there could be. There's a potential for silicon-based life, for example, that would have a different set of parameters required to live. They would actually likely be able to survive in more extreme conditions. Basically, what I'm telling you is if anyone comes at you with the odds of life starting on Earth are less than 1 in a 1 with a billion zeros after it, or whatever number they want to use, just know they are full of crap, because we don't know what the odds are. If we find life somewhere else in our solar system, that would suggest that it's actually probably a little more likely, barring some kind of panspermia event that actually brought it from one planet to the other, but that actually there's probably lots of planets with life, but we still wouldn't know for sure, because technically, even with astronomical odds, two planetary neighbors could both hit those odds. We'd have to continue on and outward. But we don't even know that there isn't more life in our solar system, let alone the rest of the universe. It seems unlikely there is complex life, or life that is big enough we'd be able to see with a telescope. However, microscopic life or small organisms, we still don't know. In fact, I know it's Neil deGrasse Tyson who talks about when they land on Titan and they get the thing in the water, he hopes something swims up to it and tries to lick it. this is how little we know about our own solar system. Regarding the rest of the argument, you're welcome to go watch if you like, but again, this is just a new version of the watchmaker argument, and it is this concept that because complex functions happen, something must have given the organism that complex function, despite the fact that evolution has no problem accounting for that complexity in the advanced complexity that we see now compared to the past, and how if you look at the fossil record, life becomes simpler the further you go back. So here you go, you got a sort of sciencey episode from me. I don't do them super often, but if you'd like to see more of them, just let me know down below. Also, hopefully you'll be getting a new episode. I did this Paul and Morgan episode that YouTube has flagged incorrectly. As far as what it is, I am working through that with YouTube right now. Hopefully I'll be able to get that to you in the very near future. I sure hope so. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram, you're going to see lots of pictures of Sammy. Twitter, you're going to see lots of my weird thoughts. Also, consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron. Speaking to my patrons, let's take a look at these wonderful people who keep my channel alive and going. A special thank you to my orbital cosmic pumpkin gods, Mabbity Babbity, Ariel, Caleb, Cat, Cynthia, Lilith, Vidano, Doc M. Toboggan, and Creepy Vintage Things. With love, Ivan Jimmy Snow. Mr. Atheist was not my father.
Well. Mr. Atheist was not his father. So this is the room, folks. If you want to join in. The link is... Oh, I do believe there's someone here. Bill's here. Sorry, Bill, I did not see you there.
Now I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now I can. Okay. Yeah. All right. Trying to set this up so I have the Discord in one half of the screen and the YouTube in the other.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have trouble arranging my settings. I think they're working now, so I'll close that.
Well, you don't need but the YouTube unless you want the chat.
Right, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me get out of this and get back. There you are. Okay.
Okay. Well, we are live, and the subject was Otangelo's Shroud of Turin. I so far have to. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if it's a factual thing or not, because he said it was, and then the video backed him up. But then he went on to Dillahunty and Jimmy Snow and messed up his whole reputation. So I don't know, man.
Well, that's an oldie, though. Isn't that an oldie?
Mm-hmm.
Of him being on Jimmy Snow?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of archival. Might as well just stick to that. Because
he was here earlier today, live and in the flesh.
Yes, I know. I thought he'd come back and explain himself. How he could have been so wrong. Such a smart fellow like him.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Okay. This lag is confusing me. I'm going to go ahead and close the YouTube. Too much of a time warp to try to do that. Okay.
Well, you got a worse computer than I have.
No, I got a good one. It's just the reality of it. If I watch YouTube, I see me and you talking. I can't, and in the Discord, it's present time, and YouTube is a couple seconds delay. So,
well, just cover that. Use two browsers. Cover the video part with the Discord, and then you'll have just the live chat.
That's what I tried to do, and it's still.
Oh my! So you're having
still a time warp.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter about the chat. The chat will be the time warp anyway. And besides, there shouldn't be much of a warp. I don't have any added delay, so whatever, if there is any delay, which I know there is, it's Joe Biden's fault.
Well, there's got to be some delay.
So what do you think about Joe Biden saying something he said, for the love of God, this man must not stay in office, which means get him the fuck out of there. and then his defense minister coming out and saying, no, he didn't mean not him not being in office. He just means he shouldn't have control over anything outside of Russia.
It's all fine. It's all fine.
How does that not get ridiculed on Saturday Night Live or something?
Well, it will, and I'll still get the message out. But the message is that something's got to be done about Putin. You know, so if we can get it out there, people will.
Okay,
What they call gaslighting. You know, that kind of stuff. It'll sell where it sells with statements like that. They'll walk it back somewhat. So with people it doesn't sell with, they'll still tune in into the loop, and gradually this is the gradual mutation we talk about for the evolution of people's thinking, you know, adaptation. So what works will work and change people's mind, and it's you know, you just got to go with the flow, man. You can't expect it to start or stop on a dime.
What I expect is for all the Christians who cannot produce evidence to understand that they have stumbled. There is no evidence. And to get up and, you know, wipe themselves off and carry on into the atheist future. That's what we need. We need Christianity to fuck off, basically. Just fuck off Christianity.
What do you think works better? Direct conversation with people, or a pervasive mind control media saturation of an entire culture with cues and stimulus that come from every fucking direction? Or should we just sit down and have that adult conversation? That's what I'm waiting for.
You know,
adult conversation.
It used to be a thing a few years ago before nasty little pathogens came our way. There used to be a thing. Conversation rooms.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to reinvigorate conversation room trend of communication.
Yeah, you just can't have unrealistic expectations about how mankind, generally speaking, acts out its stupidities and its ignorances and stupidities.
Well, you can, because
you just gotta love people.
No, you can exactly.
Murders, dogs.
We're doing exactly now what we did 1,500 years ago in terms of human nature. All right, put down the phone slowly. Step away from the phone.
Yeah. Okay. What were you saying? I'm sorry, I was diverted by.
It was the deepest philosophical thought I've had probably in my whole life, and you missed it. And I'm old, so I forgot it.
Ever read "Welcome to the Monkey House"? With Kurt Vonnegut wrote "Welcome to the Monkey House." Do you remember that one?
I never read it. No.
And have you read much of Kurt Vonnegut at all?
I read one in the 70s.
Yep.
What was it called?
In the 70s.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
What was it about?
It was about It was about. I think it was Catch-22. Did he write Catch-22?
No, that was Joseph Heller.
Okay. It was about
World War II.
Something about World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Slaughterhouse-Five.
Slaughterhouse-Five. That's the one. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good movie too. They came out as a good movie. But he had short stories, and one was called "Welcome to the Monkey House." And as a matter of fact, what's his name? What's the guy in the morning? Morning Joe, on TV, MSNBC Morning Joe, and his wife do the morning show. Joe, he used to be a congressman.
I don't have TV.
Oh, you don't? Fucking Joe something's. He started a rock band, and he put out a record called "Welcome to the Monkey House" for some reason. But one of the features of this thing is it's a caricature of modern living. What he would say was turned into modern living, and people wear headphones. Everyone has to be equal. so that no one feels like somebody else's talents and skills makes them feel like something the cat drug in. Was how he phrased it. So people have to wear smart people have to wear headphones, and every 15 seconds these sounds would go off, siren or clanging of a thing. People who read the news had marbles in their mouths, so they wouldn't speak so eloquently that the people listening would feel like something the cat drug in. And then they were having a big ballerina show, and all the ballerinas had sandbags tied to their wrists and ankles and stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds a little bit. Sounds a little bit Salvador Dali.
Yeah, well, he was pretty good. All sorts of stuff like that. He was hilarious. The thing is, so much of it's come true. So, you know,
so the prophet.
There was some prophecy there.
He's a prophet.
Well, he
modern day prophet.
Humanist.
Kurt Vonnegut Jr. is a modern day prophet.
Well, for shopping for religions, he came up with one called Bokononism.
I love it already.
Yes, and you can read it in Breakfast of Champions. Was one of his books. Yes. All you people listening out there who are looking for reading material, Breakfast of Champions. God bless you, Mr. Rosewater. My favorite is Mother Night. That was a movie that Nick Nolte was in, played the lead character.
Mm-hmm.
The guy on trial by the Jews for war crimes. They catch him for war crimes.
Yeah.
Working for Nazis. He was like a radio guy. You know about Mother Night?
No.
Okay. Well, it's good when he actually was working for the CIA or the OSS or whatever, and he was giving coded messages while he was doing these broadcasts for the Nazis. But his broadcasts were so successful that it really stoked the war up and helped the Germans.
Boost the Germans' morale?
Yeah, it extended the war, but the information he was giving was invaluable for the Allies to eventually win. But nobody knew about that, only him and his handler. So after the war was over, he managed to get to New York City, and he settled down, and then he got recognized. And it's just the rest. I want no more spoilers. Good book, or the movie. Watch the movie. Nick Nolte's young and skilled in this one. It's a good performance.
That's from the 70s, and it's Nick Nolte, or 80s.
70s or 80s, yeah. Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut.
Come on, guys. Come on into the room. Don't tell me that you're scared of Discord. Yeah. Does Discord bite, Bill?
It nibbles.
Oh, come on, you guys. You're men. You can handle a nibble.
Well, that's why I'm going to try to get back to the YouTube thing. Is that people can be in the chat there.
Yes, people are in the chat, and they're being rather
more participation.
Yeah, rather
See, I'm getting a tab.
I'm just going to close something so I don't bog my system down.
Okay, it keeps opening tabs in this browser. I want a separate window. So I got to go down to the taskbar and try new window.
Algorithm. If there's no compelling evidence that Jesus was real, then the compelling evidence is that he wasn't real. That's the way it works. You can't say there's no compelling evidence one way or the other on if Jesus was real. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, but I don't require it for evidence for things that don't even get off square fucking one.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
You know, I mean, there's some things that are so stupid. Why do you got to seek evidence for them?
It doesn't get off the conceptual drawing board. That's it. It stays right there, and then it gets made into a syndicated book that is probably the best-selling book in the whole of history. Go figure.
It becomes an entire culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cafe. Most
there was
historical Jesus.
No, Jesus is a mythical figure and not a historical figure. Because as soon as you say most scholars do agree, then you've got an issue with those that don't agree, because they have a reason for not agreeing, and I would listen to them over those that do agree, because those that do agree do not have sufficient evidence other than their emotions, perhaps. But those that follow the actual facts, no Jesus. Sorry, didn't exist.
Did they have hedges and bushes and landscaping in ancient Israel? Surely, if someone named Jesus was historically there, at least to do the trimming.
Well, Jewish immigration has been happening for thousands of years from South America, Central America, and Europe to the Palestine of old. So, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Jesus is a very common Jewish name in Mexico, in fact.
There are many historical Jesuses. See,
No, there's no historical Jesus.
Jesus.
There's no historical
No,
Jesus. Well, they are, like the guy in Russia, the fake guy in States. Yeah, sure. And the guy in Australia. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fake Jesuses, but they will be historical when they die.
When they say that historical Jesus is confirmed as this, are they talking about historical Jesus in context of the resurrected, supernatural, triunal God partner? Are they just talking about a figure in history that was a Jesus that may have done this or that, just like anybody in history, and they get stuff accredited to them that they didn't actually do? Abraham Lincoln didn't throw a silver dollar across the Potomac.
Yeah, but if you want to believe that he did, that's okay.
Yeah, you can.
If you want to believe that he did, that's okay. But don't try and convince me that he did. When it took you a stretch to believe that he did, and you could change your mind any second.
Well, I'm just not going to devote a lot of energy or
I've just been
resources to trying to unravel that.
I've just been called out by Dog. He says
it's God.
God says I would come in, Sidney, but we fell out over fantastically different viewpoints. You call yourself atheist, but you're actually anti-theist. Religion can only be opinionated from both sides. And I'll agree with you on the last one. I don't give a fuck about religion. It's not my domain. You want to practice religion? Go practice religion. You want to spew dogma that is nonsense? Then you got me as an opponent. To say that I call myself an atheist, but I'm actually anti-theist, you're gonna have to explain yourself. Bill, what is an anti-theist?
I guess an anti-theist is someone who would be against God even if he did exist.
Well, then I'm not an anti-theist. I'm just an atheist. Sorry.
It's more proactive.
Sorry, dog. I'm just your run-of-the-mill everyday atheist.
Well, they tried to give some sort of further connotation to not believing in God.
But then he's But hold on a sec. He would come into this room if I was an atheist. But I've stepped over that red line and he thinks I'm an anti-theist, which is bad to him, and he won't come into this room. Someone who is against theists, listen. It's very simple. Christianity is stupid. All gods are imaginary. There you go. That's it. It's not about anything to do with anti-theism, unless whatever I said was anti-theistic. So come into the room and explain it to us. Come on, man. Come on, be a sport. Be a sport, dog. I know, Henry. I'm not joking at you. I'm not doing this performance art for you, sir. I'm doing it for dog.
It's saying something here about an anti-theist refuses to ascribe to God an attribute which is worthy to the conception of a God. So he's not even going to admit that God could have any good attributions. Only those theories which refuse to acknowledge that there is evidence even for the existence of a God are atheistic. I don't know what they mean by that.
I don't. Oh, strong.
Atheism is the absence of belief in gods. Anti-theism is a conscious and deliberate opposition to theism. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't do that.
Atheism is what happens to be what you believe, as far as that question
I
goes.
I oppose
And
creationism.
anti-theism is a hobby. Okay.
Okay, so creationism, that is absolute nonsense. Is that
Very close to
is that
Cretinism.
anti-theistic?
Creationism and Cretinism. Very similar.
Creationism. That's what I think is the big con, the big theistic con. The link is way up in the top of the chat that you're typing into, dog.
Some call strong atheism anti-theist. Anti-theist is when you make a hobby out of it. It's when you wind up on the internet discussing it instead of just going through your day, selling your click clacks at whatever store you own and
Mm-hmm.
doing your business. You're over here spending all your time talking against it.
He's chickening out. He's chickening out. I don't do Discord, unfortunately, he says. Very convenient.
Well, if you don't do Discord, Discord will do you.
That's right. Get with it. Get with the 21st century, man. 1984 is past. Come on up.
Yes, dog. This is a Discord deal.
That's right. Everybody.
That's why
when I had my meat rooms, no one joined. When I had my Jitsi rooms, no one joined. Now I got a Discord room. It works. Everything's fine and smooth and dandy. And I don't do Discord. I don't do Discord. I don't do Discord. No. Come on, man.
I don't do Discord. You're just a dog if you don't do Discord.
Yeah.
Notice how he capitalizes the G.
Well, he's dyslexic. He's dyslexic.
He's just clever.
Oh, he's a clever boy.
Let me click on, see if I can see his avatar picture bigger. It's too small. He's wearing a red muscle tee, but I can't. It won't enlarge it. Go with him.
Oh dear. Well, in that case, I'm just gonna have a sip of coffee. Coffee.
Yeah. Henry Hansen, how you doing? Shout out to Henry.
Oh, my doggy's calling. What do you want, my doggy? Helen.
I'm just on my phone right now. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
discount account for. Yeah, I'll get a discount. Do it. It's worth it. I think you can Discord from your phone too.
I'll be right back.
But I tried Discord and it's lame. Well, I didn't enjoy it at first either, but I've found it's pretty good now. Once you get your line legs, I can get into common boxes and hear Tom Rabbit stuff all the time. Getting conversations with T-Jump. So even the atheists of Austin, that swarthy crew. So it's very well implanted in the culture now. It's well, Darth, you can run into Darth on Discord, but it's all different rooms. You have to find the room he's in, and you can avoid him completely. You just have to pick your battles. I've never chickened out and have streamed with you many times, Sidney. Your lack of memory disturbs me. Well, I'll speak for Sidney. He's getting old. He doesn't have coffee almost on an intravenous basis. He tends to have brain fart. He tends to self-mute his microphones and completely unaware of his presence in the cyberspace, that he's speaking, his mouth is moving, and no one's hearing anything. Oftentimes, he'll run into the kitchen and hide in the dark. He's coming back. And he's a wonderful, intelligent, succinct, lucid man. See, he even preens his dog's paws. Okay, compare the expressions on Sidney's face and on his dog's face, and tell me who is better fed. Mine's allergic to dribbling drivel. Can, but need to set up the account first, whichever for on a roll. Yes, definitely Always send her your shit from a real computer, from a desktop.
All right.
John Rapp retracted his message, Sid. It was really vicious.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
He retracted it so fast that I didn't get a chance to read it. But I would probably make sure you don't let your dog outside without being with it.
I'll make sure that I have eyes on dog at all times.
There it is. Keep your eyes on the dog.
Pat, I'd like you to keep eyes on my dog. Make sure that he's okay. Because if John Rapp's in the side chat, then I want to make sure that my dog is fine.
John Rapp. So tell me, who looks better fed? Got a look of a well-fed dog or a well-fed Sidney?
Good damn question. What do you think? What does the dog think?
How do you get her ears like that? Boy, you must spend lots of time with a pick comb.
No, it's all totally natural.
Oh, she's maintenance free. What a sweetie. I forget, what's your dog's name?
This?
Yeah, this one?
Is Jenny.
Jenny? Oh my God.
Jenny.
My significant other.
This is Jenny. My
Jenny,
companion for
okay.
life.
What a coincidence. Small world.
Why is this a small world?
Yeah, I had a significant other for many years named Jenny.
Oh, really? Was she as hairy as this one?
In the right places. In the right arrangement.
What breed is the dog? She's a mix, actually. She's a terrier mix, Yorkie dominant,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. But she's definitely a mix of terriers. And this hair is hypoallergenic. It's not fur. It's actual hair. This is such a good girl.
That's not a weave, huh?
No, it's the color, all natural.
No, it's okay.
Guess how old this dog is?
Judging by your interest in I'd say she's 12 human years old.
Ooh, you're very good. She turned 12 2 days ago. Man, see? Modern day prophets everywhere. But she's a cutie.
She's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Henry
a dog.
says that's old. Henry says that's old for a dog. Is 12 old for a dog?
12 is 12 is a senior dog.
Okay.
Well, if all goes well, I spoke to the vet. If all goes well, she's got another 5 years left.
If all goes well for the vet.
If all goes well for the vet, she's got a few holidays coming up. Paid for.
Well, she'll have a couple of checkups. Still 5 more checkups.
Oh, she gets she gets like 2 a year. Plus, she's got this issue with her liver, so she gets ultrasounded twice a year. And she's on medication and special diet. She's like
she's
high maintenance.
She's a content creature, though, is she not?
Oh, totally.
Okay, quality is still better than quantity.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. This is a quality animal, this one.
Okay. It's a laugh on Facebook.
So what's going on in the chat? Who's
Quasar said lots of laugh. LOL FB.
Facebook. Is that what FB stands for?
FB, that's what I would think. I don't see anybody FB in the chat, but FB.
Yeah, 20 is reasonable for some dogs. Wow, I don't know if I've ever. Yeah, I must have come across a 20 or 22-year-old dog. I've certainly come across old cats.
Quasar.
Oh,
Quasar's effing with us. Effing with us.
no, blessed be he is effing with us.
You must be purified. Your metal is weak.
What does that
I don't know.
It's hilarious. Blessed be he. Click the link, come in, explain yourself, So, or let's have a laugh. Whichever one comes first.
Blessed be he.
What about she? Shouldn't she be blessed at all? Only he?
Be she. Blessed be she?
Blessed be her.
Or she might be a blessed be he, she.
Blessed be she, he.
He, she. Blessed be they. They're right, goddammit. Get slapped down in the public court.
It'll be more like, blessed be, refuse to answer.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Yeah, I do cats, and my cats are often 20-year-old cats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that.
Good.
Yeah. That means they have a very good life. Indoor cats, obviously. Yeah. So, Sidney, always send me a link to the stream. Now I have to subscribe to a Discord. A little clickbaity too.
Google Meets didn't work out. Google Meets
dog,
easy.
You're breaking my heart, dog.
Dog's high maintenance.
Dog's high maintenance. I always sent you a link to the stream. Yes. And did you ever join? No. Now that I send you a link to a stream that you don't like the platform for, you say, "Oh, yeah,
Dog's at a restaurant. He says the food tastes terrible in such small portions."
What?
Your mortal metal mind needs to be purified.
He showed you how to do it. Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten? Actually, no. I was brought to task in front of our good Lord Satan, and I was given a good earful. Let me tell you, a strip was torn off of me, up the one side and down the other side by our Lord Satan, who set me straight. Thank you. Next question.
I think Sidney's trying to push your buttons, buddy.
No, I'm a serious interlocutor. It's so hard to download the Discord app, create an account, and join. It's so hard. You're right, Quasar. It's the most difficult thing to do on the whole internet.
Many times you've spoken to Dog on the platform, Sid. Please go through the content of your channel.
Well, what's the point? If you already if you've spoken to me on the channel and you still want to talk to me on the channel, join the channel.
Dog has important information to impart to you.
No, he doesn't.
He's not going to say it more than once, I guess. If he's already said it, it's not worth repeating.
I don't know what we spoke of all those many times ago. So he might have to refresh my memory. You seem heavy with thoughts. Sidney, you seem heavy with thoughts. He can enlighten you. Have you forgotten to use his fire?
What the fuck?
What the fuck exactly? This is the kind of entertainment I can promise you on the Sidney Winston channel.
All of Sidney's thoughts are things unseen to other people. Just like you're talking about Romans, things unseen, about the basis of faith. All of my thoughts inside are things unseen. That's true for every sentient creature in relationship to other sentient creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Their thoughts are things unseen. You can have no idea what's going on inside someone else's head, except for through the firing of muscles, a physical firing of muscles. is the only way that you can associate this deep, complicated, wondrous, unseen thinking with another sentient being. It's a physical thing.
And that takes energy, ladies and gentlemen, for this firing of muscles, of this nerves, or whatever you're talking about, takes energy.
I'm talking about the smearage of pigment as done with pens. You have to push them with your fingers. Speaking to somebody else, describing these unseen thoughts that all you can do is linguistically describe what you're thinking to somebody else.
So, blessed be he. I have a question for you. First, I have a couple of questions for you. You seem heavy with thoughts, you said to me. Bill, have you picked up that I seem heavy with thoughts?
No.
And he can enlighten you, but who's he? Send me a she who can enlighten me, baby. And then, have you forgotten to use his fire? What the fuck? What the hell's he talking about there?
Well, you steal someone's fire, you're going to get burned. I don't know what that means.
I have no idea where he's going with fire. To use his fire. Have you ever seen anybody in your whole world guarding his fire so that nobody steals it? Ever?
Well, yeah.
One example?
You're around a campfire and somebody comes by and they want to sit down and you don't want to, and you chase them away.
Yeah, but that's not stealing the campfire.
What do you mean it's not stealing the campfire? I mean,
well, this guy said, have you forgotten to use his fire? Oh, yeah, okay.
Use his fire. I think I don't know if he's talking about Christ. He's saying you
no, I don't think so.
Like Christ.
He says he, and he wouldn't say he for Christ. He'd say God or Lord or Master.
Well, it's capitalized. Okay, well, you said Satan. So
well, Sidney's capitalized. I'll have to tell you. Just say in case you forget.
Sidney, you seem heavy with thoughts. He can enlighten you. Well, it's either he's talking about your attestation that
maybe
Satan straightened you out.
Oh,
He can let you, and you're forgetting to use his fire.
That could be.
Or he's blessed be a theist, and he wants you to turn on to Christ.
No, I'd go with the Satan. I'll go with the first one.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because Christ we know is mythical. See, that's the thing. At the very beginning, whenever anybody says Jesus or Christ or anything like that, it's mythical. So you can discount it right away and know that this guy's talking shit. So you're just going to have fun with him, play some word salad, and then go for lunch.
That would be a myth steak.
Steak for lunch.
There it is. Your thoughts are heavy. His fire, a dragon. Sidney as Satan, hellfire.
Hold on. Sidney, you seem to be displaying Alzheimer's disease, Sidney. Bill, am I displaying something? Now, be honest with me, because this is a serious health issue here. Am I displaying any signs of Alzheimer's? And if so, what?
It's the muting. It's all the muting, the self-muting.
Come on. Am I?
Well, yeah, but you're not looking like stage 4 or anything, but I am. In my day-to-day life, I go into the kitchen. I forgot why I went in there. Or I've got two things in my hand, and I'm going to throw one in the garbage and put one in the sink, and I throw the thing that was going in the sink in the garbage.
But hold on. In that case, I've had Alzheimer's for most of my adult life.
Yeah, well, these things happen, man.
There you go. Oh, hold on. He's got more to say. Either Alzheimer's, so it's not Alzheimer's, because it's either Alzheimer's or you're full of shit, which is the reason we disagreed, as you know, fuck all, about the position of being an atheist.
I don't see that.
You're an
constipation makes it difficult to remember things.
You're an alcoholic hater. Nothing more, nothing less. I'll drink to that.
Where did he send you that? On the Discord?
No, it's in the
message?
side chat, the YouTube side chat.
I don't see it. It's not here. I'm not getting it.
You know what? Click on instead of top chat.
Top chat. Yeah.
Click on live chat. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, and it's a live chat. All messages visible. Boom.
Boom.
Okay, let's see now what we got. Yep, there they are. Jeepers.
So now, if I'd have had Alzheimer's, would I have been able to give you a lesson in software?
That's one in your favor of a modicum of mental health still.
Thank you.
You're still holding on to.
The Alzheimer's is creeping up quite rapidly, apparently, according to one observer.
Well, you can fake it for a while. You can, if you have your login passwords all memorized, autofilled, you can get away with forgetting them for quite some time.
No, my bank password and my Google password are not written down anywhere.
Yeah,
they're in my memory. Only there, nowhere else.
Okay.
It's been like that ever since. Not so much the Google, but it is now Google. The Google, I've secured my Google account like every possible way, and my bank account, I've never ever had a bank account password saved on any computer that I can think of ever.
Okay.
So I should be free.
What are the odds? What are the odds of figuring out your password? The odds are 1,100,000 to 1.
What are the odds of figuring out me figuring out my password if I had Alzheimer's?
Figure out your password. If you do get Alzheimer's, it would take a God, a benevolent, loving God, to allow someone to do that to help you. And that is why we must believe. It's my Otangelo imitation.
That was not I was listening to a guy on OSI yesterday, who was talking military stuff, but fuck, he sounded just like Otangelo, and he wasn't from any other countries that Otangelo's dipped his toe into.
There's a recent clip up on YouTube. It's Kermit the Frog.
I saw it.
You got the thing. It's this fucking wondrous. It's wonderful. I never finished my song of Otangelo singing to Darth, the sounds of Darthians. Hello, Darth, my old friend. I've come to sup with you again. But this is his farewell to Darth, because Otangelo finally comes around and gets it and refutes his previous Christianity and becomes a secular humanist. And he sends one farewell song to Darth, and maybe I'll finish it someday, because it's a winner.
Oh, you started it.
I started and then I stopped it, like most of the shit I tried to do.
Well, get on it.
I started and then like the theme song for the theme music for
the Sidney Winston channel. I need some original music for the Sidney Winston channel, not shit that you send me that's already copyrighted.
Shit.
Well, it wasn't shit. It was so good that it was copyrighted already.
It got flagged. Yeah, well, I was going to work on it, but you sort of dropped away there for a while. I thought you were gone.
I was working behind the scenes so that I could bring you this.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. You weren't having like throbbing that you couldn't log on because the throbbing was too intense in your temple. Okay.
No.
What a load of drivel, says Quasar, to blessed be he.
Oh, E.A. Dawa's in the house. Long time no see. Indeed. That's E.A. Dawa, that's Justin. Justin Downing the Christian.
People are new. He's got a nice logo there, a nice little avatar.
Yeah, that's it. Well, he's a Christian who became a Muslim, but he's not very good. He's not very good at being a Muslim.
When people would say they're Satan worshipers to me, I would say, the thing is set up. God is good and Satan is bad. Okay, and we may have issues with either. But if you're going to choose, good or bad, why would you want to just choose wrong? And that's why I always discounted Satan worshippers. And they would say, no, Satan's not really bad. Satan's actually the good. They've just been lying to you. And the good is the bad is the good. I said, but if the bad is the bad, it's pretended to be good, but it's actually bad. Still, that's the bad. So let's call that Satan, and let's call good God. You have to be anti-theist to reject that. But I just never had much patience.
But
for
Satan
worshippers.
The history for the crimes of Satan versus the history for the crimes of Almighty God aren't looking very good for the Almighty God in terms of priors and all that.
No, you're damn right.
Criminal history. How many deaths do we attribute to the Almighty good God? And how many deaths do we attribute to Super Satan?
God hired the Jews to run his PR, and they came out with a whole presentation, and it was bad.
Well, what they did, the Jews, they went and fucked up, and they created Christianity.
Yeah, well, they did that because they had to find a way to get more Jews, more membership in Judaism, without having to be born from a Jewish woman, or the mother's. If the mother's Jewish, then the baby's Jewish, or if the father's Jewish.
Oh no! They didn't give a fuck
about
that.
Work? If
what
it's a
they
Gentile
did,
father,
yeah,
father's the goy, the child is not Jewish.
Correct.
Okay, so that's the father.
But that's within Judaic practices.
Right, and they needed to expand. They needed to expand the membership, so they came up with a way for people to become Jews.
No.
Christ.
That's absolutely no. That's totally not what Judaism does. They don't go out and proselytize and convert people to Judaism. Come on. Now you're sounding like blessed be he.
No, you got me wrong. The Christians did that. That's why the ones that became Christians did what they did, came up with that shtick. Is they were trying to find a way to open up the membership. They were Jews before they were Christians, right?
Yes, of course. But
Jesus was a rabbi.
But new Christians
were trying to broaden the power base by finding a way, scripturally or whatever, to enlarge the membership to non-Jews. Fall of the Roman Empire. That's what the guy was talking about. It's a great book, The Fall of the Roman Empire. It covers the advent of Judaism.
You talking about Gibbon?
Yeah, Gibbons. Yes, that was his point. That's what he was talking about. And
the Roman Empire is very strong today and ever present in the Roman Catholic Church, because that's a relic of the Roman Empire.
You betcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they'll trade off one power structure, one way of running things for any. It's just which ultimate authority figure do you want to be able to claim you are speaking for, so that everyone has to do what you say.
Ultimate authority figure. That's that is just so beyond silly. Ultimate authority figure.
Zeus was the head authority of all the other polygods, but now it's just, hey, we just need one, Yahweh, and Jesus runs everything, and he's the one. And how do you know what he says? Because he told me to tell you.
Mm-hmm. That's right. In fact, the funny thing is, Mormonism, Judaism, and Islam all have quotes from the prophet and what the prophet said. Jesus, as a prophet, there's not one quote what he said. Like, we know that somebody took down Joseph Smith's words. We know that somebody took down and wrote down what he said. What's his name? Muhammad. And we know that Moses took down whatever God says for the Old Testament. So there you go. Jesus, nothing.
Don't leave out the guy who started the Baha'i faith. Baha'i.
I don't know who started the Baha'i faith. Do you?
Yeah, some guy. Probably named Muhammad V or Muhammad Jr.
Is the Baha'i offshoot of Islam?
They say it isn't. They will say it's not. They say he's just he happened to be a Muslim or something, but he's the world prophet. It's a world religion. So you talk to Baha'is, and they won't even recognize that they're an offshoot. They're an offshoot from.
I will say one thing.
look, there's some good Baha'is. Baha'is are pretty cool people, but this one, I think they kind of deny that they're a Muslim offshoot.
I had actually one of the nicest, most calming experiences when I visited the Baha'i headquarters in Haifa, Israel. They have this beautiful view on a hill. They got this like hill where they have the building where they pray in or whatever, and then they got this gardens, beautiful gardens, lots of space, gardens outside on the hill, and it's mostly sunny there, and it's just unbelievable. And inside, it's got this calming. Everything is calm. Even the person, the chick who was explaining whatever she was explaining to us, which I can't remember, she had this totally calming way of presenting herself.
You do it well.
Yeah.
Soothe you.
Oh, it's soothing. Yeah, it's great.
They save you. They cure all your ills. And if not, it's mystery. It's the mystery. Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah is the latest prophet or manifestation of God in the Baha'i faith. Baha'i from Islam. Baha'i is not considered a subsect of Islam. There's a new religion in and of itself.
Oh, yeah?
That's what it says here in Google. But Muhammad is in the Baha'i faith, apparently. Wikipedia, but I'm not going to go into all that. Baha'is are very loving, community type people.
Yes. There's no one has ever blown themselves up for the Baha'i cause.
Yes. I have some family that are, and when I used to visit them, they had a little plaque up there, and it has some holy writing or something, and it probably means good things for everybody or long life or something. But the actual script, every time I looked at it, it looks like it says evil, kind of scripty, it's kind of scribbly because it's like pointing it out to them. He says, no, that's not what it says. I said, yeah, but it looks like it. Can't you see that it kind of looks like that? They say, now you're just looking at clouds. You're just trying to say cloud. That cloud looks like
yeah.
a snapdragon. But I sure saw it, and I just thought, boy, that one, that's spooky funny.
John Rapp just wrote, the friendly atheist went through the Bible and added up how many people got killed. So the estimation is 25 million. I don't know what he means by confirmed 3 million. So I don't know what he's talking about.
And Satan only killed 10?
Satan killed 10 people.
I didn't say killed.
All right.
Satan 10 people.
Well, considering that he killed 10 people, can we logically conclude that those 10 people actually deserved death? Whereas God kills 10 million or 3 million or 25 million and none of them deserve death?
Team Satan. Hashtag Team Satan.
Team Satan. Ave Satanas. Ave Satanas.
My favorite Satan is the one in South Park. Has an emotional relationship with Saddam. That's so good.
I never thought I would ever come up with meet the lamest excuses that these Christians throw at me. I don't have a Discord account. It's so difficult, all these platforms.
Running a lot of people like that. Here in Arizona, I had friends that used to get food stamps, $16 a month. They said, they have to renew every 6 months. So they said, it's too much trouble, all the paperwork. Well, when the pandemic starts, the state started giving $250 to everybody who had food stamps. And these people were too lazy to go in and reapply. They qualified for food stamps, $16. And so I did it for them. I used to go online and set it up for them. And they wound up getting over, spending a couple of years, thousands of dollars worth of food for free, uh, because they were qualified initially for $16 in food stamps. And that's the way the Lord will. The way the Lord will provide for you. You give the Lord a few little peas from a pod, and you will have a bush of benevolence shower down upon you from on high.
All right. And that'll happen first thing in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. Look, wake up to a sunny day with the Lord at your side.
Pay your 10%.
Okay.
The freak's in Arizona too. Yeah, I know. The freak's the one who once told me I had a beautiful mind.
Who told you that? The freak?
A freak?
Is the freak the one who says he can't come in here because it's Discord?
Yeah, we talked one time. Google Meets. I think it was through Google Meets. It was a good little conversation. I think you took off. You probably wandered off. You forgot where you were and wandered to the back of your room and played with your dog. But it was just me and him. And,
well, it must have been a long time ago because
it was one of my first times.
Okay.
It was a good early response. He said I had a beautiful mind, but what's wrong about Jesus, of course. A freak is a Jesus freak, ain't you?
I think that blessed be he is a bot.
Yeah.
Let's just read that shit that the bot is writing.
It's a blessed Baha'i. Blessed be he, she, Baha'i, they. Blessed be God sucks balls. He was a swear word to me.
No, you should see it now. It's below that.
And blessed be he, his fire can create or destroy.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just
my choice.
It's a bot. It's bought
and paid for.
Yeah, bought and paid for, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Alpha K91's on it.
Yeah, Alpha says it's a theist bot. Who's writing these theist bots? Who's the technical mastermind behind that?
Otangelo, obviously.
Otangelo is a hacker, huh?
Well, I mean, he's the subject. He was the subject of this hangout.
He is so close to just knowing, to knowing the way things are. After which he can chill out and just have a benevolent life and not push other people into delusion. All his loving aspirations toward humanity can be fulfilled, but he just needs to get that one little bit right. He's so close, so close. Come to us, Otangelo. Come to us.
Whose volume is too low?
I didn't say that. Oh, your volume.
My volume is too low. My volume is not too low. Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It cannot be too low. Is it?
Only to God. God cannot hear you. When you speak, your decibels are stolen by the devil, and the God cannot.
No, that's a troll. That's a Christian troll. A stalker. See what I mean? You see what I mean? These Christians, they are so deceptive.
Oh, Bill's volume is a little low. I don't doubt that.
No, your volume is fine. I can hear your volume fine. It's got to be me.
Fancy dancy. Okay.
Got to be me. Hold on a sec.
It's a Sennheiser vocal mic.
Okay.
Designed for handheld while you're singing in a club.
No, you're very clear and loud to me.
Oh, I just wasn't projecting. That's all. I get soothed, Scotty. When I get soothed, I sometimes drop off in my volume, and I actually purr.
He's a ventriloquist. I'm telling you. He's the best ventriloquist in the world. Most ventriloquists can just throw their voices here and there. This man can turn down the volume of his voice so that you think it's not coming from him. That's genius.
I throw my voice with a fastball, a knuckleball. You're never lost as long as you have a horse and a ration of oats.
What about water?
It's in the horse. There's enough in the horse.
I mean, he's not going to get water from oats. Not going to get liquid from oats.
Well, the horse will lead you to the water, but he won't drink any of it, and that's just more for you.
No, I'm the one who leads the horse to the water, not the horse leading me to water. Don't you know? Haven't you read the book?
Look, you're so unspiritual. You leading the horse to the water is actually the horse leading you to the water. Don't you know?
I think I see your point of view. Yes.
Yes, everything is.
Yeah.
I miss
Scotty, you didn't miss him, but he disappointed all of us by not showing up.
I haven't seen him around too much other places, too. I thought maybe he was going to show up here because he's trying to get back in the swing. Has he been ousted by a lot of his former
I have no
sponsors?
idea. I have absolutely no idea.
Never hear about him and Darth chatting it up.
I don't think Darth's around anymore. I haven't heard a word from him from anybody for the longest time.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the dates of these clips that show up, Tom Rabbit stuff and Clubhouse things, but some seem to be fairly recent. I don't know.
Clubhouse, I'm seeing J. Robin mainly, but not Gary.
Well, it seems Gary gets started, and then I think they're letting J. Robin sort of take over, try to do his best. And then I've seen clips where Darth comes in and white knights him and rescues him when he starts getting really in the thick of his own bullshit. God, what an obnoxious person.
So when Gary hears J. Robin starting to sound like Gary, he jumps in and stops him.
Yeah, there you go.
Makes sense, absolutely. Yeah.
Darth, if you're gonna do me, you do me right, or I'm gonna have to come in.
Jaw. So let's see what happens if I jump to this message in the lobby. What happens to the screen?
Lobby. Date 8:37, 9:05.
Oh, nothing.
9/11 it says.
9/11?
Me6.
What?
And Me6 is a bot. I'm looking at your thing too. There was a message from Me6. It says bot today at 9/11. Evolution is an undisputed fact, not up for debate.
Yeah, that's a bot.
He's a good bot, right?
Yeah. Okay. See, there he goes again with this blessed be he bot. He's starting the whole spiel again. Your metal is weak.
Scotty says Bill Pastor is very hard to hear. Yeah, I keep going away. Okay.
I'm hearing you fine. So, everybody, come over to my place and you'll hear Bill.
Scotty. All right, I'm going back. Okay. Gonna be leaving soon. You know me.
Yeah. I know.
I'm peripatetic. Peripatetic.
What does that mean?
Yeah, look it up. That's why I said it twice.
I don't even know.
Peripatetic.
I don't think I'll remember it.
Okay. PERI.
Yeah.
PATETIC. My peripatetic definition.
Yeah.
Traveling from place to place. In particular, working or based in various places for relatively short periods.
Mm-hmm.
Also, an Aristotelian philosopher.
Aristotelian philosopher.
There you go. Ignominiously Aristotelian.
You're doing good.
Okay. The Peripatetic school is a school of philosophy in ancient Greece. Its teachings derive from its founder, Aristotle.
Yes.
Peripatetic, or
Yes.
Aristotle, is an adjective ascribed to his followers. I guess they walked around a lot talking He traveled around a lot.
Okay.
It dates from 335 BC, before Christ, 300 years before Christ. That's all, just 300 years.
That's it, eh?
That's shorter than the amount of time that the blacks have been a slave in America. Wikipedia. When I began teaching in the Lyceum.
Teaching in the Lyceum.
And there it is. I want to do a TV show. It's based in Greece, the philosophers in Greece, and it's based in modern day. It's a parallel series type things. And it's a story of the relationship between the schools of philosophy. Okay. And a depiction of what life was like, a real good, realistic depiction, kind of like that Rome miniseries was. It really captured what it was like to live then. And to lay out the different philosophical, politics, politics of the time between the schools. And then in the modern day, you've got a bunch of people, they get together before they go to work at 8 o'clock at Starbucks or someplace. They have coffee together. And they sit around a table and they have coffee together. Then they go on their various ways to work. So they're talking about current day things. And you start up little relationships between the people. Maybe there's 6 or 8 people. Okay, so you have little the married couple. Maybe the wife is going to wind up going for the lesbian or something, or whatever. But you've got these little interesting depictions of modern times and the kind of issues we face here. And then you have a depiction of how that relates to the actual basis of philosophy from a long time ago, an accurate accounting of that. And then halfway through, you've got some guy who's been sitting at the other table overhearing their conversations in the modern day. And so he comes in and introduces himself, and he's like the Darth Dawkins character. He comes in to start shit with all this stuff, and he's totally, you have these people that you can represent and bring them in and out. But it would be a limited series like for HBO, and it would teach people about the actual historicity of the philosophical schools and how well that has recovered in modern times and what the basis of our idiocy that we are exercising today in social interactions.
Indeed.
Need some writers.
What?
Need writers.
Yeah, writers, like writing writers?
Yes, who want to put forth to people, who want to set forth these fallacies that people commonly use that they're not aware of because they're ignorant of actual real philosophical form. And you get that with apologists. They just distort logic and philosophy with weasel wordmanship and disingenuous maneuvering.
Yes.
Bullying and such.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So, if I make this a daily thing, if I open this room every day at some point, we jump in? Maybe?
I don't think I would do it daily, but I would do it when I'm feeling right. I'm not real super healthy, but I have good days and bad days, just generally speaking. But I would check by. What you need to do is you just need to keep the room open and have different people host it. Try to get it open. And then if
the room's. It's Discord. Anybody can join at any time.
Yeah. So you need to build that up. Get some people to jump in there and do it, and then you keep an eye on it and jump in when it's warranted.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
I'll check it. I'll check it in whenever I'm in the mood. I would do it.
I should have a stream sort of on a daily basis, even if it's just for an hour of some sort.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
The issue, of course, is scheduling it at the same time every day, so I can be a little bit more predictable.
You know, I've never really sat down and looked at a mapped out the time zones around the world to understand the problems you have with trying to time it for people in Australia or people in
No,
Europe.
that's not a problem. People in Australia right now, it's perfect. Perfect for them. But it's the people who work and I can only watch it in the evenings. And there's others who work, I don't know, late at night, can only watch it in the mornings.
Yeah, well, it's 9:30 here for me right now.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And so what time is it for people in Australia right now?
It's probably, I don't know, in the afternoon tomorrow, something like that.
So you want to catch them during rush hour, or you want to catch them when they're home? You want to catch them when they're home. You don't want people participating while they're driving. You want them at their desktops at home. Yeah.
No, they can. Yeah. Don't drive and come to see the light of atheism at the same time. You're liable to drive into a pole or something.
Don't drive in Discord at the same time.
That's right.
Well, yeah, so I would stop by and check it in for a while. Ventilate my mind on you.
Alpha K9 says, I'm in Discord. Send me an invite. How do I send you an invite if I don't know where to send it to?
Well, the invite is up here on is in the live chat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
an invite, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you can click on it. And
Alpha, click on the invite on the very top of this chat window.
Or copy it, and then log in through your Discord account, and then go search for want to join a server, and then you have an invite, and then you click it, and then it says enter the code.
Right.
So you can do it from your end, or you can do it by jumping on into it through here.
Well,
if it doesn't work.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I will give you an invite right now to the server. I'll put it into the chatty wetty part right there.
There you go.
There you can go. Join using that. And you're in.
Easy like that.
And then you can invite me to yours. If you have a server, that is. I don't know if you do. But I think, let's see, how long we've been running here? 2 hours, coming up to 2 hours. I think it's a good run. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, no problem at all. Yep. Take care, man.